Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or Tom at TrentoVision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
You ready? Okay. You ready? There is only one thing to say in light of the unbelievable decision, the amazing power of Hillary Clinton. She falls asleep listening to the president speak in Cambodia, but jumps on a plane, flies to the Middle East, deals with the Muslim Brotherhood, who hates women, and negotiates a peace settlement. We just need to recognize her awesomeness with these wonderful words.
Peace in the Middle East.
Oh, yes. Joni Baez. Soothing our frayed nerves. Calming the savage jihadi beast. Oh, yes. Thank you, Joni. There's peace in the Middle East, everybody.
Peace in the Middle East.
Okay, TrentoVision.tv is sponsoring all expense paid trip to the pyramids in Egypt. We're going to be leaving over the weekend, and then we're going to go to Cairo, visit the Muslim Brotherhood. We're going to go to any Christian church and Jewish synagogues there, and bring our
synagogues
flags.
In Cairo?
Yes.
Yes, all the synagogues in Cairo we're going to, and all the synagogues in Saudi Arabia we're going to.
We have peace in the Middle East. 1,400 years of jihad ideology. Wow. Done away with in a moment of Clinton-esque capabilities.
I think she deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well,
could be a double one for Barack.
Barack sent her, though. So really, who? What? Barack sent her. So really, who gets it? The sender or the doer?
Well, I think he should bookend them. One for his his first term, and one for his.
Well, his first one was a down payment on peace in the Middle East. Now he's delivered.
Now he's delivered.
No, his first one was for showing up.
For showing up, okay. So he's there.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. Called Norway.
Oh, actually, Stephen Colbert on the Daily Show actually had a funny comment.
What do you say?
He goes, "Okay, since Barack Obama is half black and half white, does that mean in the second term we get the white?"
Oh, the white. Yeah.
So that one should get a Nobel Peace Prize
that.
too.
I could see that. Well, we are stunned here at TrentoVision.tv at 6 minutes past 3 o'clock in beautiful, balmy, 75-degree studio, Boca Raton. But the real outside temperature is
73 degrees in beautiful downtown Boca Raton, Florida.
73. And Mike, Invisible Mike, traffic?
We still have traffic.
There's traffic. Okay. So on the 6s and on the 7s and the 9s, we bring you weather and traffic. And
I just saw 3 cars drive by.
Wow.
And on the 8s, we have peace in the Middle East.
And on the 8s, peace in the Middle East. We are stunned at WNN 1470. And but during this first hour, for those of you just tuning in, my name is Tom Trento. I'm your host on Trento Vision, which is national security radio. That's a good way of looking at it. Our expertise is in the area of national security, both internally and externally, foreign and domestic. And the primary target for our concern has been the Islamic jihadis. They're Muslim terrorists, okay? We don't have a lexicon here that excludes the use of words to identify and name the enemy, as does the federal government per Barack Obama. The lexicon of terror has had words extricated from it, like jihad or Muslim Brotherhood or Muslim. It's
Or terrorist.
Or terrorist. Very difficult to fight an enemy when you can't name the enemy. Well, our show here, folks, we name the enemy, and then we tell you all about the enemy, and we tell you why the enemy needs to be defeated and why America is a lot better than most of these every Muslim country. You win the lottery, which Muslim country are you going to go to? Okay, there's 56 of them. You want to go to Myanmar? Where do you want to go, Alex? So, who's that? We got somebody on the line?
Yeah, we got Alex.
Who's that? Oh, Alex.
Our friend Alex.
All right, Alex, we got a tight show, but we're going to bring you on for about a minute or so. What's up?
I'm sorry. I don't want to. Number one, I just want to thank one more time. Thank you for what you do, and one more time I want to offer. What I wish there was something I could do to help the Israeli army right now. I promise. I wish if my knee was better, I wish I could go and help somehow to the people out in Israel. And I feel for what's going on because I look at USA Today, and the only pictures that they have is it's like they don't show anything of what's going on in Israel, but they show what's going on the other side.
All right, Alex, I'm going to have to let you go. Keep calling, though. We're jammed with some specialists coming on, but I think, hang on, listen to the show.
Yeah.
Can't people go to Israel? Point. I mean, can't people go there and help? I know civilians
Absolutely, yeah. Civilians can go there to help. There's lots of things to do from behind the scenes that support the troops, that support the hospitals that are taking care of the injured. Lots of things to do. You don't have to be an expert at anything. Just go and show your support. Spend a little cash while you're there. Help the economy, and people appreciate it. And if you can't go there, then what you can do while you're here is you can buy Israeli products that help their economy to keep everything moving while they're under this siege.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Alex, for calling. And today, folks, on TrentoVision.tv and WNN 1470, we're going to bring you in just a couple of minutes a report directly from the Tel Aviv area. Our analyst, Barry Shaw, has been on every day this week. He is on the ground, has a full report for us, a report on the ceasefire and a report on the bus bombing. Did you guys hear about the bus bombing?
Another one.
Well, this one comes a little close to home here. Here's why. And for those of you who are listening or watching that do not know, about 3 o'clock this morning, Florida time, while you were rolling over and going into your alpha, beta, gamma sleep mode, somebody threw a bomb in a bus in Tel Aviv. Wasn't a suicide bomber. So they weren't quite interested in making it to paradise with a 72-year-old virgin. But they did want to create terror. And they threw it in there, something like 25 people injured, and a couple of very seriously. Initially, they thought it was getting hit with one of the Katyusha rockets. We learned yesterday what a Katyusha rocket is from map man Mark Langfield, marklangfield.com.
Mark Langfan.
marklangfan.com. He's our good friend.
Super smart.
Yes, he is. Very accomplished attorney and expert on Middle East affairs. But on this bombing today, it is, you want to hear something bizarre? There's 2 points of contact with us in this room. You ready?
Yep.
2 points of contact with CJ, the disembodied voice, Mark, and the invisible Mike. 2 points of contact with the bombing that occurred 3 a.m. our time. Number one, Mike and Mark, you guys were with us on the tour in February, the intelligence briefing. Mickey Rosenfeld. Remember Mickey?
Yes, yeah, Mickey, yeah.
Mickey is a national policeman in Israel, and he took us in Jerusalem, in the old city. He took us into the spy center.
That's right. Behind the scenes, where all that we showed us, yes.
The CCTV
well,
cameras.
We only saw the outside spy center. We didn't see the in-depth spy center where they actually have some very special tracking going on. We know.
Yeah, and but we saw stuff that you don't see on regular tours. And Mickey was our guide, our briefer. Yes. We have some videos out with us speaking with him. Well, he is all over CNN, all over everything. He's the primary spokesperson for Israel right now. So that's kind of a fun connection. That's sort of a fun connection.
I told you to turn that down.
I was sleeping when you said that.
Man.
I said, I think I had it. Took my nap before here. Who's from Los Angeles? Oh, must be. No. So that's a kind of a fun thing, our connection with Mickey Rosenfeld, and he's got a key role. But this is kind of a sad point here of connection for all of us in the room.
Well, concerning that suicide bombing that happened with the 24 people being attacked, just Hamas blesses the suicide bombing and assures that it's a natural response to everything Israel's doing. And so, just let them know that they're 100% behind, Hamas is behind that suicide attack.
Yeah, we're going to get into all of that. Listen to this. This is the AP, Associated Press report today on the Tel Aviv bombing. And they said it's noted, and here's the connection to us, that this is the first bombing in Tel Aviv, an IED bombing, since April of 2006. And it goes on to say, the bombing today was the first in the coastal city of Tel Aviv since April 2006, when a Palestinian suicide bomber killed 11 people at a sandwich stand near the city's old central bus station. That bombing was perpetrated by a member of Islamic Jihad. It is forever etched in the minds of Thule and Cheryl Woltz of Weston, Florida, whose 16-year-old son Danny was mortally wounded in the April 2006 bombing. So the bombing today was the first since Daniel was killed.
Oh, wow.
Which is very interesting.
Daniel lived for hung on there for 27 days?
Yeah, 27 days.
Yeah.
And we've had Thule on many of our speaking presentations, a fabulous guy. And Thule just won a major case.
Well, it's right here. It says, in May of 2012, a federal judge in Washington awarded damages to the Daniel Cantor Woltz Foundation because he sued the various banks and all of that. And the damages were
$330 million?
$337 million.
$337 million.
Thule, you listening, buddy? Hey, Thule. He's got a long way.
He's got a long way to go to get that.
Where he's going to see that. But,
but he's also got a suit against the Bank of China for financing it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have a trivia question for
this one. I think this one was the China bank. Yes.
No, there's more.
How many?
No, it's Iran too.
Yeah.
What does this latest terrorist attack in Israel make the total amount of terrorist attacks since 9/11?
17,246.
CJ, what do you think?
It is a crazy number like that.
What do you think?
Oh my gosh! Don't even ask.
19,968.
Okay, but there's one other thing about this attack.
No, hold on. I'm going to repeat that number. 19,968 Islamic terrorist attacks.
Yeah, it's just hey, there's a small portion of very bad Muslims that are doing that. The bombing.
Apparently only 1% of them are interested in doing this out of the 1.3 billion in the whole world.
It's a big number. It's a big number.
It's a big number.
The bombing today took place where they said the first one since 2006 where Daniel was killed. Actually, 55 people were injured, 11 were killed. In our trip there in February, we asked our host if we can go to that scene and tape that.
We did.
And we drove there, CJ. It wasn't on the schedule. They took us there. And we were in a little bus that held 10 of us. And the drivers there and Mark Kohlberg, who we will have on Monday. Mark's going to come on Monday for an hour and do a whole analysis of this wherever we are on Monday.
Right.
And we're going to talk about his tour, all of that, try to push that for folks to go on. Mark said, okay, we can go there, but this is a little different. So we pull in, we come out of the beautiful parts of Tel Aviv, and we get into like the center area. And oh my God, I thought I was in Mogadishu. It was unbelievable. And Mark goes to everybody on the bus, okay, only one or two can come. We've got to go out fast, hang on to the cameras. You know, we don't have weapons. We do this fast. Let's get out of here fast.
In and out,
right?
in and out, in and out.
In and out. And we get out of this little bus, and these skinnies, the Mogadishu Somalis.
Call them skinnies, yeah.
They were all over the place, hanging out like gangsters, looking at us with the cameras. Mm-hmm. I was very uncomfortable. We went to this restaurant where Daniel got blown up. We shot a little piece, and it started deteriorating because we're holding these cameras.
Exponentially, it started deteriorating.
We said, let's get out of here. And we made our way. We didn't panic or anything. We just said, all right, let's just go back because you can't panic with these kind of things. We got back on the bus and said, what the hell is that? And Mark says, hey, welcome to benevolent Israeli immigration policies. Coming up through Somalia, going into Egypt, coming across as immigrants. Free stuff in Israel. They've taken over sections.
Illegal.
They're all jihadis.
Illegal,
yeah.
Immigrants.
They're all jihadis. Unbelievable.
Or should we call them undocumented?
Well, let's find out.
Jihadis.
Let's find out.
They're neo-Israelis.
That's right.
Undocumented Israelis, neo-Israelis. Right?
Let's find out what Barry Shaw has to say about it. We have our good friend Barry Shaw from the Tel Aviv area Skyped in. Barry, are you there with Tom, CJ, Mark, and Mike?
I am, and this time I'm looking at you, Tom, and also CJ.
Okay, great. Good to see you. And man, I think we're going to keep you a little longer today because we originally had a 15-minute segment for you, but I think we want to carry it a little more. There's so much going on. We were shocked when we went to the shawarma place in the center of Tel Aviv where all the Somalis are. What is that all about?
What, eating shawarma?
No.
It's shawarma, yes, it's shawarma.
In February.
Very good food.
Yes, in February on our tour with Mark Kohlberg, we went to a scene of the last bombing in 2006, where a good friend of ours from Florida, he and his son were blown up in Tel Aviv in April of 2006 at the bombing of that restaurant.
Right.
Right now, that part of town is just full of Somalis, illegal Somalis.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
Yeah, well, that was a benevolent face of Israel that came back to slap us in the face. But what we've done now is Bibi has taken a strong position in completing the fence between us and Sinai, where they were flocking over at a rate of about 10,000 a month.
Wow.
The ones in the area you spoke about, the Tel Aviv bus station, are being moved to detention camps down in the south, close to the border, before being repatriated back to where they came from.
Oh, okay.
And one or two international legal complications, especially those coming from Eritrea and Sudan, which have got to overcome. And I think together with the international community, we're looking together at finding alternative replacement homes for them in other countries that will take them as refugees.
Interesting, okay, because that was just a mess. I mean, these are gangsters.
But I found, Tom, that the flood of these people flooding over the border as illegal immigrants, whether they're refugees or not, that's debatable, has been sort of nipped in the bud. There are maybe fewer people are allowed in because of certain humanitarian reasons, and you'll find, in fact, they'll be moved to their own countries, which Israel will pay for, or to a third country.
Wow. Well, let me reintroduce you, Barry, to our worldwide audience, not just here in Florida, But wherever people are listening and watching, whether it's on iHeartRadio, whether it's on TrentoVision.tv or on WNN 1470, we have Barry Shaw with us out of the Tel Aviv area, and his website is Israel Narrative, IsraelNarrative.com. Go there for these updates and briefings. Barry, you've been doing a phenomenal job. Take us through your brief for the day. Let everyone listening and watching enjoy your good work.
Yeah, well, Tom, they say that a week is a long time in politics, but it's a lifetime here in Israel, because it was only last Wednesday that Israel's Prime Minister announced the start of Operation Pillar of Defense against Hamas rockets. You hear me over there?
We hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. In order to try and bring peace and quiet to the citizens of Israel. And tonight, Wednesday night, at exactly the same time, he announced to the Israeli public that a ceasefire was coming into effect at 9 p.m. That was about just under an hour and a half ago, Israel time. He said, in his words, that Israel was giving an opportunity for a ceasefire to succeed. Now, the interesting thing of his talk to the Israeli public is he opened by thanking the President and the Secretary of State for America's vocal, physical, and diplomatic support of Israel during this conflict. And he did that before thanking the Israel's IDF and the people of Israel for standing with resolute efficiency under fire. That's an interesting point. The Defense Minister, Ehud Barak, said, "We inflicted maximum pain on Hamas while doing minimum harm to Palestinian civilians." And if anybody knows the repercussions of the last Gaza campaign, which ended up with the Goldstone report, this was very important. The Defense Minister also thanked American assistance to the military equipment that was vital in defending the people of Israel and successfully destroying terrorist infrastructure in Gaza. But the big surprise of the evening for a lot of people here in Israel, and maybe for some of your viewers and listeners, was Avigdor Lieberman, who is one of the toughest politicians in Israeli politics, personally and publicly thanking President Morsi of Egypt for helping to negotiate the ceasefire. That was a very rare moment in Israeli politics, I can tell you, and that might be picked up by the media in the next few days.
Well,
I want to tell you, actually, Lieberman compared the conflict we've gone through. He called it a three-dimensional success for Israel. And by that he meant, on one dimension, the citizens on the home front who had withstood 8 days of hell under thousands of Hamas rockets with very limited personal harm or loss. Two was the military success, both on the home front in protecting the Israeli citizens and also inflicting heavy loss on Islamic terror targets in Gaza. And the third one for Israel, the third success of this three-dimensional conflict, was the diplomatic circles. Israel is sort of embarrassed now because the normal civilized part of the world were throwing the last week their full support for Israel and our right to protect ourselves against terrorism from Gaza, which was completely different from the Gaza campaign a few years back. Especially from Europe, this was pretty rare. So anyway, now we have a ceasefire, which is been in force, I say, about an hour and a half, and it's a matter of wait and see. We still have 57,000 reservists who are not standing down yet. They're on Gaza's border, and we have to wait or see. I think they'll be there for a few days. If there's going to be peace and quiet for a few days, maybe they'll be released to go home. And we have to see whether this is going to be a new, what I call temporary deterrent. I can tell you, breaking news, because I'm keeping one eye on the Israeli TV station here, that there are 12 rockets have been launched since the ceasefire from Gaza on Israel. So that's the breaking news right here, and so far, as I say, I'm looking, Israel has not yet responded to this. So maybe we're giving them a chance. In the meantime, the other thing is that no schools will be open at all tomorrow in the south of Israel, just in case something happens.
So 2 hours into the new peace deal, Hamas has already launched 12 more rockets.
Don't give them the 2 hours. It's only 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Right.
let's start. Let's go through this piece by piece. You had something.
Yeah.
CJ's got a. Now, hang on. That's the mic that Barry hears us in, right?
Here,
Not our regular mics.
he
So
can-
you got to project over there for Barry to hear you.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, am I okay? Am I okay over there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Barry?
I can, yeah.
Okay, great. Just as an aside from all of this, I'm going to call it silliness because I don't think it has a chance for lasting. But it seems to me that Saudi Arabia has been really, really quiet through this whole episode. Do you hear any news from Saudi Arabia?
Not over that, no, but maybe on another program we can talk about Iran, and there are things going on with regard to Saudi Arabia which we can discuss on another program. But yeah, I haven't heard anything over this, but I can tell you Qatar has been quite active. As you know, the Emir of Qatar went to visit Gaza a few weeks ago, and he promised a whole bunch of money to Hamas. And I think Qatar behind the scenes were also helping out with regard to establish the ceasefire. Very strange things going on in the Middle East right now.
Another question I have is these rockets and missiles that have been landing in Israel, are they being examined for the source of where these weapons have come from? Are any of them being traced to Iraq, to Libya, through Turkey?
Certainly the Fajr 5 long-range missiles that have been aimed at the center of Israel were certainly supplied by Iran. We think some of the other shorter-range missiles were either, again, supplied by Iran or also manufactured locally. But we also do know that we have seen Hamas demonstrating a ground-to-air missile system, which could have come from Libya.
And how do they get from Iran to Gaza? It's not really that close.
Iran. No, not from Iran, from Libya.
No, before you said they were coming from Iran as well. So,
Iran? Oh, I see. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, several routes. Don't forget, there was a mysterious huge explosion in Sudan a few weeks ago, which the Sudanese blamed Israel for. But that was a weapons storage facility. Some airlifted from Iran to Sudan and supplied to Hamas via the Sinai, going up through Egypt and through the smuggling tunnels into Gaza.
and what is Israel able to do to stop those flows from Iran, from Libya, from the rest of the Arab world into Gaza?
Well, this is one of the things that should have been covered in this ceasefire, but I haven't read the details or the fine print of it. But there ought to have been something which would have imposed on Egypt to prevent any weapon smuggling from Egypt into Gaza, but I don't believe that that has happened. That's
And
one of the things.
what is Egypt's incentive to stop the flow?
I would have thought a few billion American dollars to Egypt.
And what do you think they would do with that money if they had it?
Would you expect me to say from any corrupt Arab government? Some will go into private bank accounts, some will go for other sort of needs, and the poor people will carry on being poor and getting poorer. I'm sorry to sound cynical.
No, do you think they will use some of that money to continue to remilitarize themselves for their own ground war against Israel?
They will certainly continue to militarize themselves with or without the American support in using American weapons. Whether it's going to be used against Israel down the road, quite likely, because, hey, it's Muslim Brotherhood. It may have had the spots rubbed a little bit the last few days, but they may get back to the natural tendency sometime in the future.
Hey, Barry?
if you're talking about CJ, can you hear me?
Yes.
If you're talking about Morsi of Egypt, you know, one thing that's happened over this ceasefire, according to my analysis, is there's been one tactical advantage for Israel of this ceasefire, is that Morsi of Egypt has been neutralized, I would say, by Israel and America by making him the focal point of negotiating the ceasefire deal. Hence, even Lieberman thanking him and praising him for it. Basically, he's been positioned into a corner, according to my analysis. You know, despite Hamas demands that the peace treaty with Israel be torn up, you know, as part of agreeing this ceasefire, this peace treaty remains in force. They're going to keep Morsi as, in a sense, the focal point and responsible for any breakage of the ceasefire any time in the future. And we expect that someday soon, Egypt will return their ambassador to Israel. So, as I said, in a sense, it's sort of defanged Morsi. Maybe he'll exact a price sometime in the future for this. But right now, it may have been quite embarrassing for him, and I think embarrassing for Hamas as well, the Gaza equivalent of the Muslim Brotherhood, that they completely misread the political map, in my opinion, because they, let's say, wrongly assessed what they thought with the re-election of Obama, and they read the, let's say, the personal body language or poor body language between Obama and Bibi as being mean that there is a breakdown in relationship between America and Israel. As it turned out, they were wrong. And they thought, because of all the overtures that the Muslim Brotherhood, Morsi in Egypt had been playing to Hamas, that they would have the Egyptian backing, which also rebounded on them. So they've been diplomatically embarrassed. And basically, they're staging right now in the Gaza Strip huge celebrations as if they're the big victors. But I want to tell you, the people of Gaza have seen the total and immense destruction that's been inflicted on them because of Hamas adventurism and terrorism into Israel, with limited to no personal damage. Well, I would say no, because obviously people were killed, but basically not a great deal. So I don't think that Hamas won any brownie points, even within Gaza, for what they've done the last 8 days.
Very interesting. Do you see Morsi potentially becoming another Sadat-type figure in Egypt, even though they're introducing Sharia into their constitution?
Who we say is a Sadat-type figure? A Morsi?
Yes.
Let's not get carried away here.
Mark, you had a... Mark, you had...
You and I will never live to see the day where Morsi will get on a plane to Jerusalem.
Mark, did you have something?
Yes. I got a question for you, Barry.
Yeah.
How much money is this going to cost the United States, you know, as far as this deal is concerned? And B, Egypt, you know, has the total border down there with Gaza also. Why do we need to have goods and services being shipped in from Israel? Why can't those goods and services be shipped in from Egypt? What's the problem with Egypt taking care of the Palestinians? Why does Israel even have to bother with it?
Was that Mark?
Yes.
Okay, Mark. Hi. How are you? I haven't read the details of this ceasefire agreement yet, but I have been told that there has been some concessions made to Hamas in having some of the borders open, maybe on our side and maybe on the Egyptian side, so that humanitarian aid can go in. I understand that's so. I don't know, and as I mentioned before, I don't know what stipulations are in there for Egypt to prevent any further smuggling of weaponry over their border into Hamas or Islamic Jihad in Gaza.
But why is it always Israel? I guess is my question is, it's always on the crux of Israel to make any concessions or do any type of things to supply, you know, Gaza. It's always Israel's fault. But it's never Egypt's fault. Why isn't Morsi coming and saying, hey, listen, We can do whatever we want to with Gaza. Why does Israel even have to be involved? And why aren't they launching rockets at Egypt instead of Israel?
What, you mean the little Muslim brother is going to launch rockets at the big Muslim brother? Ain't going to happen.
Well, no, it has nothing to do with Muslim Brotherhood. It has everything to do with Israel not giving them goods and starving them and everything like that. Why can't Egypt supply them? I mean, Egypt has all the resources to supply them as much as anybody else. And why doesn't Saudi Arabia make a deal with Egypt to funnel goods in through Egypt now that the Muslim Brotherhood is running the country? I mean, why is this always on Israel? And why do they launch rockets at Israel? I mean, Israel said, hey, just leave us alone.
I want to tell you, Mark, I think that I heard something that I think it was probably one of the Hillary Clinton ideas or plans while she was here, both in Jerusalem, speaking to Bibi, and also the Palestinian Authority, and also maybe Morsi in Egypt, that what they want to encourage now, what America wants to encourage now, is basically what you just said, Mark, in that they're trying to get lots of stuff into Gaza, so that they can have a stronger economy, so people will have, a really more reasonable standard of living, and therefore maybe so the idea goes, be less inclined to start launching the hundreds of rockets at Israel or whatever.
Well, I'm sure Saudi Arabia can build a road. I'm sure Saudi Arabia can build a road and give them money. Hey, we'll build a highway right into Gaza from Egypt. Leave Israel out of it. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is. I mean, this blame game is getting very, very old, Barry.
Well, I want to tell you, I think, Mark, in a sense, you're right in that I think some of the things that are going to happen is that you're going to see a pile of money pouring into Gaza, Hamastan, and I think the aim is to, boost their economy, get more people employed, get them sort of financially on the feet, so they will have more to lose if they continue a terror war against Israel. That's why the Emir of Qatar was there, and he, pledged a whole pile of money. And I think you'll find, as you said correctly, Mark, that you'll have the borders open with Egypt so that they can provide it from there. But there has to be some stringent measures to make sure that, they're not going to get, billions of dollars of heavy and sophisticated armament and a little bit of rice. Going to be the right proportion.
Well, how about this for an idea, Barry? Okay, you don't launch rockets at us, and we won't attack you, and we won't wipe you off the face of the earth, and we'll stop supplying you with electricity and water. Okay, once you guys stop doing that, now we will stop attacking you. All right. Now, if you guys want to funnel in everything you want to up through Egypt, go ahead. We don't care. We're out of it. We're out of it.
Right. Well, basically, that's what's happened. They launched 1,300 rockets, I think it was, us, and they had about each one having about 40 kilos of explosives, and they had something like 2,200 hits on them, certainly more heavy, and they took a real heavy beating. If they don't learn that lesson, then we have to go into a stage that we discussed yesterday. The option is still there. But I think, in a sense, it's a very strange position over here. A lot of people in the south of Israel, even unhappy. They wanted a stronger and more continued response from Israel against Hamas and Islamic Jihad to degrade them even further. But also there's another opinion over here that perhaps the timing was right. We came out of this diplomatically, militarily, and even on the home front, very much stronger.
CJ, you had something?
Like I mentioned on one of the earlier broadcasts, a good exit strategy is worth its weight in gold.
CJ, you had a question for Barry?
Yeah, I do. It seems to me that every single year, the wealthier Arab oil nations pledge hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to help the Palestinians, to help the Egyptians. The money actually never comes through. When it does, it comes through in the form of armaments. This aid that's going to come from Qatar, where's it going to go through? Is it going to come through the Suez Canal, and is Israel going to have a chance to actually inspect what's going into these areas and make sure that it's actual building materials, or what's going to happen there?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure whether Qatar is going to actually deliver sort of goods or whether just give them the money. I don't know about that. But yes, you're right what you said, CJ, about the Arab pledges, as you said, for billions of dollars or whatever, that even Mahmoud Abbas in Ramallah claims that comes through. But, you know, what's the moral of that story? That the Arab pledges and promises is not worth the paper it's not written on.
Yeah, that is a good one. It's Tom again, Barry. Couple of things. First, it's 42 minutes after 3 o'clock here on Trento Vision. If you want to talk to Barry Shaw or one of us, you can call us at 888-565-1470. 888-565-1470. We're deeply involved in a conversation about the ceasefire that took place an hour and 43 minutes ago in Israel. We have Barry Shaw, a national security analyst, on Skype with us here on WNN 1470. And we are a bit bewildered. And Barry, I have a couple of questions.
Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered.
Yeah, some of this stuff does not pass the smell test. We have two individuals that have done exactly the opposite of what their psychological profile demands they do. And that's President Obama and President Morsi. President Morsi is a Muslim brother, okay? And President Obama is a collaborator now with the Muslim Brotherhood. It appears like President Obama is supporting Israel when we know for a fact that's not what he believes in. And it appears like Morsi is supporting Israel when we know for a fact that's not what his belief system is. And I got to tell you, if this is the surface, and if what we see on the surface is what's below the surface, then I guarantee you the jihadis in Egypt are already planning the assassination of Morsi for caving into Israel and not supporting the Hamas. So a couple of points there that we need to discuss. Then what are the terms? I mean, I could see is that you none of us shut our phones.
And that's never on. I'm sorry, CJ.
What are the terms of this ceasefire? Because in one sense, the 3 points that you raised, the home front, the military, and the diplomatic successes, yes, they seem to be apparent based upon what the facts of the truce are. And we do know there's tremendous damage that's been inflicted into the infrastructure and the leadership structures of the Hamas. And a final point for you to chew on and respond to is there's a theory floating around that this whole Pillar of Defense operation was kind of a dress rehearsal for an Iranian attack at some point in the future.
Look, I would today, I'm going to go off Israel a little bit here, but to address some of the questions and the points you raised. Today, this afternoon, I was at a conference at the Bar-Ilan University here in Israel on U.S. foreign policy after the elections. Are you with me?
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm not going to tell you who said it, but there was an analysis that addressed this issue, that the Obama administration was encouraging moderate Islamic regimes as opposed to radical and extremist Islamic regimes. As examples, you may remember sometime in the election campaign, Obama made a slip of the tongue where he said that Israel was one of America's closest allies in the Middle East. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we sure do.
One of. Mm-hmm. Up till then, we had been America's closest ally in the region. Now we're one of. Who was the other one? Basically, it was Turkey. I will virtually guarantee you that once Obama is inaugurated on his first official trip abroad, he will visit Turkey. Possibly Turkey before he gets to Israel. These two are in cahoots. CJ touched before about weapon proliferation and what the weapons were coming from that are in Gaza with Hamas and Islamic Jihad. I'm sure, Tom, you connected with people who know what I'm getting at.
Yep.
I am having an article, which I will have soon, I hope, in the Jerusalem Post, which talks about weapon proliferation going between Libya and Syria.
Yep.
With the covert encouragement of the United States.
Yeah, we're familiar with that.
Yeah, it's all about Benghazi.
I'm going off subject here a little bit, but I'll get back onto it again.
Hey, Barry, hang on one second. We have Ibrahim on the line. I think he wants to talk to you. Hi, Ibrahim, you there?
Yes, I'm here. My name is Ibrahim. I'm a convert to Islam within the last 2 years, and all I'm hearing from you guys is blah, 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 blah. And I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you because there's nothing you can do to stop us. What you are, the ceasefire. Have you heard of the term hudna?
Yeah, we sure have.
Well, that is what's happening. It's happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's happening now.
Yeah, we get it.
We called the ceasefire. Now we're going to rearm. As far as it being a cold run or a dry run for Iran, that's silly. And I'll tell you why. Because when you go into Iran, you're going to have to use, you're going to have to fly 1,000 miles to get over there. The armaments you're going to need are bunker-busting bombs, and what you're doing in Gaza is conventional warfare, very light conventional warfare. So where do you get this? Where do you come up with these ideas?
What is this guy? He's a what?
He's a convert to Islam in the last couple of years. Are you American, Ibrahim?
Yes.
And where are you from?
You don't need to know that. I'm driving down 95. I heard your show, had to call in.
Okay, okay.
All right, so what is your main point, Ibrahim?
My main point is we've seen this time and time again. It's going to be the ceasefire. The West is calling for peace. And we're going to rearm, and we're going to start the whole process over again 3 or 4 years down the road.
Now, are you going to be going over there and helping in that effort?
No, I don't need to. There's enough work here to do in the United States.
And okay, well, that's great. Barry, you got any thoughts on that?
I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
Well, it's a recent convert to Islam who's got a little jihadiness in him. We run across these guys all the time. They're a dime a dozen, basically. You know, a lot of bluster, all of that. 4 of them just got whacked by the FBI, caught, stung, and arrested in California. But, okay, Ibrahim, you give us something to think about. And
I don't know what he was saying. He's a convert to Islam, and now he wants to apply salam to the world and give a personal example of saying peace with Israel.
No, just the other way around.
The other way around. What he was...
So he's a typical convert to Islam.
Yeah.
And he's doing for violence and hate.
Yeah. Basically, what he's saying is the ceasefire is a sham. It's an excuse for a hudna so they can rearm themselves. And Israel's out of their mind if they think this is a dry run for a hit on Iran because they can't cross the airspace and they don't have the bunker busters to do it. And what we're doing now in Gaza is a conventional war that has nothing to do that prepares us to go against Iran. Did I cover that?
You covered it.
What he's saying is that we push for a ceasefire so we can hit Iran. Is that what he's saying? No.
I'm going to drop Ibrahim right now. Goodbye. Call us another time, Ibrahim. And he was just the hudna. You're familiar with the hudna, with the Muslims. Yeah.
Okay.
He's basically saying that's what this is. Gaza will rearm, all of that.
I agree with him on that.
Sure, yeah. I just don't feel comfortable with the situation I see on the surface. I'm reading from some of my my colleagues on Team B2 about and others in that ilk saying, Netanyahu's caving now. We don't want to go that far this quickly. When will the terms, at least the public terms, of this ceasefire be publicized?
We'll get that by tomorrow our time, I'm sure. I haven't seen the print, I haven't seen the English version, so I don't know. But it'll be out within a few minutes or an hour. It'll be there on keep your eye on a lot of the Israeli media, online media. It'll be there as well. But I want to tell you, in reply to Ibrahim, I'd say two things. First of all, that Israel went into this conflict with Hamas in order to respond to rocket fire on one aim and one aim only, and that was to bring peace and quiet to the citizens of Israel and not to suffer from terrorist rockets. And with all due respect and to the Israeli government, they stuck to that game plan. They didn't switch horses in midterm, and once we got this ceasefire, which hopefully will bring peace and quiet on the citizens of Israel. Don't forget, up to 5 million Israelis have been under terror threat. He did that. Now, as for what Ibrahim's saying, that's from the Hamas point of view, Islamic Jihad point of view, it's a hukner, which basically, as he knows, is a temporary pause while they rearm and re-strengthen and regroup so they can hit again. We're aware of that. We know that this ceasefire is not going to be everlasting, on the way to converting Hamas into a peace partner. Yeah, we wish they would, but they're not going to. Ibrahim knows that, I'm sure. Yeah. So basically, we're all aware, we're very realistic and pragmatic in this country. We know it's only a temporary ceasefire until the next time they misunderstand the situation and want to hit us again.
I think it's temporary enough for them to get the $150 million that the United States pledged to them yesterday. And once they have that cash, then they'll turn around and they'll start right up again.
Okay, I agree, CJ. You know what? When their proxy Hamas tries to hit us with rockets, right, and we go in to punish them for it, I just wonder what punishment America would apply on Egypt. When that happens,
yeah, this is
I don't believe there's going to be any punishment.
Barry,
because according to the Obama doctrine, Egypt is a moderate Islamic regime or country, right? Which they want to encourage.
Yep.
They made the mistake, I think you'll agree with me, in assuming that a post-Gaddafi Libya was also becoming a moderate Islamic state.
All right, Barry,
your ambassador.
We gotta wind it up, Barry. We're at the close of this segment.
Right, that's something that I'd love to discuss with you in another program.
We will. Let's plan on bringing you back on Friday because either.
Well, no,
oh, it's too late.
Shabbat,
yeah, it's gonna be too late.
Friday could be good, okay for me. But one thing you want to bear in mind next month, don't forget, the big loser in this has been Mahmoud Abbas, the Fatah leader of the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah, who's become irrelevant, but he's going to go to the United Nations next month. I think you need me back for that, to find out what the implications of him going to the United Nations against the will of America, and certainly against all agreements with Israel, and the implications of that.
Yes, we absolutely will do that. We will see you now. We got to end this segment right now. Thanks again, Barry Shaw, for a fascinating update. It was very informative, and we're going to carry it over. We'll see everybody at the top of the hour, about 4 or 5 after. Tom Trento signing off part 1. We got 2 more parts to go.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.